Hello, everybody. My name is Cathi Nelson. I'm the founder of the Association of Personal Photo Organizers, and Jenny Larson is with us as well. And we're guests of PhotoDex today, and we're going to share with you the insider's guide to selling slideshows for profit, which is a really exciting topic. So again, my name is Cathi Nelson. I'm the founder of the Association of Personal Photo Organizers. So we're an association made up of over 550 members throughout the U.S., Canada, Australia, actually growing throughout the world. And we'll talk more about what we do as we go through this presentation. But I'm excited to have one of our members with us, Jenny Larson, who also has a very thriving slide scan business. And I'll let Jenny introduce herself and tell you a little bit more about who she is.
Thanks, Cathi. Yeah, like Cathi said, I have been a member of APPO for a couple of years, but I've actually had a business making slideshows for over 13 years. My business has really grown in the last few years since I've been a part of APPO, and I'm looking forward to sharing with all of you today sort of how I started my business and hopefully share some tips and techniques and help some other folks get started in this profession as well, which has really brought a great deal of joy to my life, and I've helped a lot of clients over the years, and hopefully it can help you get started doing the same thing.
Great. So I think the way we're going to start today, Jenny, is we're going to first talk about, is there really a need for what I do? And I'm going to talk about that a little bit from the photo organizing perspective, and then Jenny can share how, by adding that piece to her business when she discovered us a few years ago, how that really has made a difference in her ability to charge more, find more clients, and things like that. But the question is there really a need for what we do? And it's a resounding yes, that the average consumer is drowning in photos. In fact, every month, over 1 billion photos are being taken today, which is an incredible number when you think about it. In fact, I do this presentation frequently. I have for a number of about 5 or 6 years, and I have to keep changing my slides where I talk about the fact that we're drowning in photos because the numbers keep increasing. At one point we were uploading 350 million photos a day to Facebook, and now, I mean, we're up to this 1 billion photos taken every month, and that's a true statistic for the year 2015. And so another way to get that in your brain a bit to understand it is that every 2 minutes we take more images than all of humanity has taken since the camera was invented. So that's another incredible statistic. And so what does that mean? It means the average consumer is losing touch with their photos. In fact, there's a great study that was just out by the founder of Google, Vince Cerf, that was just, he was talking about what he called digital rot, the fact that people don't realize that they're taking all these digital images and they're going to lose touch with their photos. It may be a lost generation because as technology continues to move at such a rapid pace and things are changing. I mean, we no longer have film, and now we no longer have VCR tapes and all those things that we had at one time. It's amazing how quickly that's happening, and so many people are unaware of that. And suddenly they're going to wake up one day and realize that they can't find those photos that really matter to them. They haven't told the stories that they wanted to, which is what I always say to people, why do you take photos in the first place? Well, we take photos to tell the stories of our lives. We're storytellers by nature as human beings, and one of the most wonderful ways to tell stories is through photos and music and narrative. And if you can't find your photos and you're completely overwhelmed with them or where they are and you've lost them or they're on memory cards and things, you're not able to tell that story that means so much to you. So that's just a quick reason why there is such a need and why the association has grown so rapidly. And I think, Jenny, you could probably speak well to this because, again, you have been making slideshows for profit for many years, and then you found the association and realized there was this whole other facet to what you were doing.
Exactly. Exactly. I had been making slideshows for a long time, and I didn't even realize that I was a photo organizer. I had been, kind of working here in my home. I called myself a videographer just for lack of not really having a title or not knowing what to call myself. But I had been sort of preaching what you had just said, which was, like, you're taking all these photos. Let's do something with them. And a slideshow is really the perfect way to bring out the story in your photos and to do something. And a slideshow really gets at the heart of the story behind the photos, and it's a way to bring out the emotion in the photos. And what better way to really to convey that emotion and to tie the photo with the music and put it together. And I don't know, I find that it really strikes that responsive chord in the audience. So I love making slideshows. My clients love making them. So for me, it was just a perfect fit for a business. And it was when I first got started, I started reaching out to some friends, and actually the very first show I did, in order to get my business rolling, what I did was my son was on a little league team, and I decided to make a season recap and donate copies to everyone on the team. And that's actually, I think, a really good way for people who are just getting their feet wet in the business to get started, is just to start donating some of your time. Get your shows out there and get it seen by people. I think that there's a really strong seasonal need for slideshows. So I think that there's always going to be those thematic, those milestone events, birthdays, anniversaries. So to the extent your friends, families, your children are going to events where these types of shows are going to be seen, donate your time. See if you can't make a show for that event. Get your work seen, but when you start doing that, then people are going to start saying, "Wow, that's fabulous! I want to hire you for my next event." That's how
It's a funny story with that, Jenny, too, in terms of when I first started my business, I was always the person who was helping my friends who were overwhelmed with their photos in the terms of when they were shifting from print to digital, and helping them get their photos off their memory cards and get them onto their computer. And a friend once asked me how much I charged per hour to offer her assistance at that, and I was stunned that she would want to pay me, which is so typical of women too. I was like, no, I'm just doing this for free. I was helping everybody. And she said, well, I pay a professional organizer. Why wouldn't I pay you? And I didn't even know what a professional organizer was. But when I got to her house, not only did she have thousands of digital images, but her son was getting ready to graduate from high school, and she had all the printed photos of him when he was little, as well as all the digital photos, and she wanted to do something meaningful. And that was the beginning of the realization that, now she didn't ask me to do a video slideshow at that time. She was thinking more of a photo book. But what was amazing, when I went, I thought, I wonder if anybody else will pay me to do this. I went and stood up at my Chamber of Commerce and said, I'm starting a new business in town, helping people manage and organize their photos. The first person who came up to me was a travel agent, and she said, oh my gosh, I just came back from an amazing trip, and I'd love to give a gift, a video slideshow with music of those photos as a gift to my clients. And I had never made a video slideshow, but I thought, there you go. That's an interesting idea. And I was honest with her. I said, I have to go home and I'll figure out how to do that. I've never done that, but do you mind if I learn how to do that? Well, and she didn't care because she wasn't going to learn how to do it. So that was interesting too. I wonder if you found that a little bit in your own business, Jenny, as you got better at doing this, that it was okay to kind of, like you were saying, give some of your services away for free, maybe as a way to start promoting yourself, and then as you build your reputation, right, you're able to then charge more and ask for more.
Absolutely. Yeah, I started off just sort of getting my name out there, but as my business grew and then I expanded, I absolutely started charging more, and then through that, over the years, my business has really grown almost exclusively through word of mouth and referrals and repeat business. And right now I do very little advertising. I have a website, but it's just, I think if you do good work and your clients become raving fans, that's, your business is going to, the work will sort of come and snowball like that. It is kind of a seasonal business, and so there's always going to be or an event-driven business. There's birthdays, anniversaries, bar mitzvahs, there's your weddings, graduations. So you see at the bottom of this slide here, we mentioned some of those corporate, nonprofits, corporate clients. Some of that stuff can help to build out the seasonal aspect of it. To the extent that you can market yourself and maybe reach out to business and nonprofits in your community and maybe make some shows for to marketing videos. It can be a real win-win, because for a business to hire a video company to come in and make a marketing video for them could be thousands and thousands of dollars, whereas to hire you to make a slideshow is going to be a fraction of that. It's going to be, you could charge more than you would say for a birthday video, but it would, you can charge more than a typical video, but it would be less, and they would have to pay to hire a videographer to make the same type of video. If that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this idea of knowing your market, one of the things that we wanted to quickly to address to that was, as you're starting any kind of business, it's really important to know who you're targeting, right? And so the folks that you're targeting with the slideshows, and we find the same thing even with photo organizing. The times when people will realize that they need assistance with their photos and they don't know what to do with them is when there's usually a milestone event. And our target market is also very much the same people. It's busy moms, right? It's moms with multiple, one or two kids in that really busy age where, Jenny, you are right now with your boys, I know, and my kids have just come out of that stage. I have a 17-year-old, a junior in high school, and we're looking at colleges, but one in college. But certainly a few years ago when I was running back and forth between sporting events and things like that, the last thing I had time to do was think about this, and then graduations were coming, or my dad was turning 80 and we needed a slideshow for his 80th, or a friend of mine, somebody passed away, and my friend's family members were starting to pass away. All those milestone events, that kind of weddings, nieces and nephews getting married and baby showers, and all those moments and key moments in people's lives are when they turn to those photos and look for assistance in this area. Yeah. And have you found that similar, Jenny, as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why I feel like it's been, for me, my business, it's been kind of, it's grown along with me, because for me, my kids have grown right along with my business. Like, when I first started, I was doing a lot of preschool graduation videos. For a while, I was doing a lot of 40th birthday videos. Now, a lot of my friends are turning 50. Lo and behold, I'm doing a lot of 50th birthday party videos this year. So, I feel like, 50th anniversaries for the parents, it's just, I feel like, so yeah, and bar mitzvah videos for a while. Now we're sort of getting out of those. I'm doing more high school graduation videos now. So I feel like, I think you're gonna, someone is launching a business doing this, you're going to have to, you should look around at your friends and neighbors, and that, that's I think going to be your core market. You're not gonna, if you don't, you're gonna have, that's where I think you should start, and that's where you should reach out and, specialize and, in what you know. That's, I think, what makes the most sense to at least launch your business.
And I think, that's a great point too. You start with the people that you know that are in the world, in the circles that you're in, because you can communicate best with them. I also think video is a growing phenomenon too in terms of social marketing, as so many people are starting small businesses, small business entrepreneurs, kind of working locally, and a video that tells a story about their business that they can put on their Facebook page, or they can put on their website or their blog, is done professionally, can make such a difference in how they show themselves. So that's a whole nother target market that you can probably like, I'm noticing more and more people doing that, and it captures my attention, when you're,
it really does.
when I'm
and I'm
looking
telling
at
you,
Facebook and things.
Oh yeah, and I was going to say, and one thing I love, I'm telling you, with the ProShow, the templates and effects that ProShow has are absolutely perfect for business marketing videos. I really think they can make you look absolutely like, I think it's a perfect fit for that style or that type of video.
And just a good plug too to ProShow, because I love them as well. I had that was years ago when I had that request. I learned how to make the slideshow using Adobe Photoshop Elements, I think it was. And then recently a friend's dad passed away, and I was able to make the most amazing video using ProShow. And it was so easy. I hadn't done it before. Everybody tells me how easy it was, but I hadn't had an occasion since I run the association now more, and I'm not working with clients as much. But I quickly, it was, and she called me in tears and just couldn't believe that, the professionalism of what I was able to present to her using the templates built right into it. I know it was great. It was, so I'm a real, I want more. I want clients. I don't even, I'd be happy to make video, do that all day long. It's just such a joy. It's such a fun thing to do for people. So now we want to just check a little bit more about that, adding that photo organizing in the mix, because again, people might be, thinking, wow, photo organizing, what does that mean? And I always tell people too, I use the word, I created my business around the concept of photo organizing, and then realized there was enough to create an entire association to support the growing profession. But to me, there was always an end goal in mind. The goal was to create a way, tells your story for clients. But I realized that if they couldn't find their photos, they were completely unorganized, they could never go to that next great step, which was actually making the video slideshow, or making that photo book, or doing that wall art display, or all the wonderful things that you can do with photos today. And so that's kind of where that came from, that idea of the photo organizing. And so photo organizing, really, people are just thrilled to have you come into their home and either help assist them with figure out where all their digital photos are, get them named and categorized, or even go through all their printed photos. So again, Jen, you want to just chat a little bit about, I think, how that's what you've noticed about that?
Right. Well, what I was, as I said in the beginning, I was called myself a videographer for a good 10 years before I discovered APPO in 2013, and I was making slideshows all this time. And I was helping people with their photos too. I just didn't know about APPO, and I didn't know that I was a photo organizer. for me now to be able to have, colleagues that I can network with through our Facebook group and bounce ideas off of, like whether it's creative ideas or a technical question through our Facebook group, has been such a huge help to me. When making a slideshow, for me, something that's really important, and I think one of the things that differentiates sort of a professional show from a not so professional show, is retouching the photos. I think a lot of people slap together shows, and if you're using some legacy photos that have some flaws in them, one of the things I think is really important is make sure the photos are retouched before they go into a show. But sometimes I'll get a photo from a client that is just beyond what I can do personally in terms of retouching. One of the APPO partners is Hollywood Photo Fix, and you send a photo off to them, and 24 hours later it comes back. It looks like it's brand new. It looks fabulous. Then there's Photo Flash Drive, another partner that that is these custom branded flash drives, which is a great way to deliver. If you're not going to do a DVD delivery for a client, custom branded flash drives are another great option.
So Jenny, yeah, it's one thing that the association works really hard at, like Jenny's mentioning too, is finding these industry partners. These are companies that offer cutting edge technology, new technologies, and are interested in connecting with the photo organizers because we have a large group of people, so they offer significant discounts. So it's almost like we can become almost like a buying club for our members. And so people like Hollywood Photo Fix, that they're business to business, so they do lots of photo editing. If you took your photos into like a local camera retailer, they probably would be sending them to Hollywood Photo Fix, but the average consumer can't find Hollywood Photo Fix by just Googling it. Or another great company that we work with is a company called Professional Photo Album. So it's a white labeled, so it's business to business. So again, the average consumer, and it's a much higher quality product than if you made a book through Shutterfly or Mix Books or things like that. And there's no branding on it, so it's your actual product. And I think, Jenny, that's been a new revenue stream for you, hasn't it? Like not only doing the slideshows, but the photo books as well.
Yeah, it's something that, for me, I was a lawyer by education. I don't have a design background. I mean, I'm good at making slideshows, but I do not have a design background at all, layout or anything like that. So, but through the partnership with APPO and using PPA, professional photo albums, they have a design team. All I have to do, once I've made the photos and got them ready for a slideshow, I upload them to professional photo albums. They have a design team that makes the book and sends it back. So I've been putting together packages for clients where they make a slideshow and get a photo book. And so it's, it's a fabulous kind of a gift if, for a client that's celebrating, say, a parent's 50th wedding anniversary. So for a full package where they get a slideshow and the book, I mean, it's just a fabulous gift, and my clients love it. So I've been doing a lot of that type of stuff since, since joining APPO in the last couple of years. So.
Yeah, that's great. So that's right. That's one of those, and as this profession continues to grow, we're continuing to find partners and people are finding us. And we'll talk at the end, too, about our annual conference that people are welcome to attend and how you can attend that, and you can meet a lot of these companies as well. But that's a great connection there. So let's talk a little bit now about working with clients. So this is something that these are kind of your tips that you've put together about.
Yeah.
So a client comes to you. Tell us a little bit about what the process looks like when you're working with a client.
Right, and one of the things I want to say is back last summer in July and August, I did a couple of webinars for Pro Show. They were hold on, I got to get the title right here. Making reunion videos for fun and profit. And if you look at the Pro Show blog and do a search for webinar, you'll be able to find those. Where I go into a lot of detail about how I prep content for slideshows. So you can really look at a lot of detail about that. But just really quickly, because a lot of my clients are local, most of the time when I'm working with a client, they're bringing me over a box of photos and maybe a handful of digital files. So I'm not working too much with remote clients. But when I do, oftentimes when I'm working with a client, there's a challenge of gathering some photos from clients. Say it's a family, say it's a 50th anniversary slideshow, and a handful of the siblings are out of state. There's always a challenge of getting photos from people who are remote. In that case, I like to use Dropbox and usually set up a folder and share it with people for collecting from people far and wide. But for me, the biggest challenge is getting the photos scanned properly. And even for me, it was just scanning them myself easily and quickly. I wanted to make sure, for a long time, I was, for the first 10 years, I was scanning on a flatbed, and it would take me hours and hours and hours just to scan. So one of the tips I really wanted to pass along to people who might be considering launching a business making slideshows or considering doing this, or is to consider investing in what I consider to be the biggest game changer for me over the last couple of years, which is a high-speed scanner that I bought from the Kodak Picture Saver 50, PS50. Cathi, I think you have one of these too, right?
I do, and yes, it's amazing. It's like life-changing. I mean, I used to sit there and put the photos down and lift up the lid and scan away. And if you've never seen how amazing the PS50 is, it is an investment in your business, but it's an investment both. You can now offer scanning, to lots of clients and just do scanning for them, and at the same time you can do the scanning for them of their photos for the slideshow, right? So it's multiple opportunities for revenue.
One of the things I wrote, client scanning, declaring your instructions. I try to avoid having clients scan themselves whenever possible, because it seems like whenever a client scans something and sends it to me, more often than not, they scan it wrong, and I end up having to spend more time retouching the photo, trying to make it look good. So, but again, on that webinar that I did before, there's some links to specific ways to tell your clients how to scan and very specific instructions. But at the end of the day, I think one of the reasons that that I have so many referrals and so much repeat business is that I really make sure my clients know that once they hire me and they pass their project off to me, that they're in good hands. Like, I'm taking care of everything, and that, like, sort of like you, Cathi, when that woman hired you and you just said, I don't really know how to make a slideshow, but I'll figure it out. When clients hire me, whenever, if they want something that's totally creative that I've never done before, I always say yes. I'm like, I'll figure it out. You know what? Whatever you want, I'll do it. I kind of just say yes, and I'm like, I'll just get it done, and I make sure that the clients know that, whatever it takes, I'm going to make sure that they are happy. And I think if you have that attitude with your clients, and you just make sure that they are going to, that you'll do whatever it takes to make them happy, that they're gonna sing your praises, and they're gonna tell everybody they know about your work, and that's gonna keep the jobs coming in. And that's what's been happening for me for the last 13 years. So,
right, it's that idea of delivering, service over and above what they expect, because they can probably get this done at, maybe a photo store or something like that. But how great that I always make sure that it's the presentation to how I present. When I would convert people's home movies for them, I would send them out actually to have that done through one of our partners. But they'd come back usually kind of just in the box with the, the DVDs and things. And I would go out and buy like a nice leather case or whatever at, Staples, and put the DVDs in, and then deliver it to them with popcorn, a bag of popcorn, and say, have fun, have a whole movie night tonight, or, different things like that you can do that take it up another notch in terms of delivery of what you've created for somebody. You might be, again, thinking, how do you organize a client's photos and things like that? And we do have a lot of training, and we have a lot of best practices and all sorts of things that we've put together. But just to give you a quick acronym that I use all the time that I find very helpful for people and for my clients as well, when they kind of say, how can you help me? I said, we're going to use a simple acronym. It's just called the ABCs of photo organizing. So the A photos are the ones that they're the best photos. They're the ones you're going to want in the slideshow. They're the ones that you're going to want in an album or archive so that people can see them for generations to come. So as you're going through your photos, you want to start that pile at that A pile. Your B photos are the ones that they don't quite make the A cut, but they're definitely you don't want to get rid of them. I mean, they belong somewhere, and so they become your B photos, and they can be kind of, you back them up, or you can put them in a photo, a beautiful photo safe organizing box, labeled in things so that you can pass that down to your kids, maybe future generations, and let them figure out what to do with those B photos. But so the B photos are the ones that kind of aren't cut the A. And they definitely don't make the C, but the C is really important because, yes, you can throw photos away or delete them, whether we're looking at print or digital. And people have a real issue with this initially until they kind of get the momentum going, but especially with paper photos. If you look at, well, it's not just paper, it's actually digital too, which is why we're completely overwhelmed with digital chaos. But certainly with printed photos, it's so funny. I mean, everybody would, at one time, you got doubles of photos. So not only does everybody have all the doubles, they have them probably still in the envelopes they picked them up in. And so it's the doubles of somebody's foot or the ceiling, or I always tell people scenery shots. I mean, they're beautiful, and maybe that one or two, you captured that beautiful sunset, over the lake, but you don't need 20 shots of the sunset. Or if you went on a trip to, the Colosseum in Italy, it's not going to look that much different if you go another 10 years from now or 15 years from now. Save like the 2 or 3 photos, scenery photos of that, but don't have to keep all of them. And by eliminating a lot of photos, it gets rid of a lot of the distraction, because the S is the most important part. Is the S is, does the photo tell a story? Because again, that's why we take photos in the first place. It's to tell a story, and if it does, that becomes an A photo. And those are the photos that you know is the client knows. And then when you're working with them, you want to ask them questions, about, is this Uncle Jimmy? When did Uncle Jimmy always make a funny face? So the photo where he's making the crazy face in the family photo, that's a photo that's worth saving, because Uncle Jimmy always made the crazy face in the photos. I mean, those are the kind of things why a computer is never going to really be able to go through photos and make that determination. They talk about this technology, face recognition and things like that, but those little nuances that really only we know are the most important part, and that's the assistance that you can do. And as I got to know my clients, a lot of times when they told me those little stories, I could make some of these decisions for them because I understood the story. I understood who the people are in the photos. So quick story about that. A woman hired me for Christmas to make 3. So I do take on some clients, but I was on a local TV show here, and a woman there said, oh my gosh, I want you to make 3 photo books for my husband to surprise him for Christmas. My twins are 8 now, and we don't have any, we've never printed any photos, and I'd love a yearbook from 2011, 2012, 2013. She came to my house with her Mac. I had an external hard drive. She dumped all her photos on it, but I interviewed her, and I knew that the girls, I forget their names right now, but one of them always made a funny face. She was always her knees were always scraped, and it was so true in all the photos. And so I captured that. I knew those photos I wanted to save because that captured the essence of who that particular child's personality was. And I knew that the other twin was a little different. And then I knew when they got their first puppy, and I knew when they went to London, and I kept those notes, and then she just trusted me to go through the photos and make those decisions, and I did that ABC. And the A photos are the ones that I put in the books. I deleted the ones that were really lousy photos, but then I gave her back the rest of her photos organized. They were already dated because they're digital photos, but I was able to determine what those A photos were. So that's hopefully a helpful acronym for you to get your arms around a little bit about how it is that we actually help these clients when we do this work.
The beauty of doing organizing, which however you get to it, is ultimately the goal is to do something with your photos. I'm always preaching this to people, and a slideshow is the ultimate way to do something with photos. I think, for me, it's like the pinnacle thing to do. That or a photo book. But I'm partial to slideshows. So I like this is what I like to do with my clients at the end of the day once we get it organized.
Right, I agree, and that because it brings all that emotion. I mean, there's nothing like the emotion of seeing photos move across the screen and hear the music and all that can go with it, right? And the speed and all the fun things you can do in those transitions. That ProShow gives you such amazing abilities built into the program to do that, so it looks so. Well, and that's something I think you'll probably talk about that too, and I'm sure you will hear about. Well, yes, we know that our I can hire my son to make one out of using iMovie or whatever, but the difference in the quality of what you create for somebody. But pricing your services, I know that everybody must be sitting here at this point wondering this question, right? This is the biggest question of all. How do I charge?
How much to charge?
So I'll let you start with that.
I made a decision a while back. When I first started, I probably charged too little, and it's hard, I think, when you start too low. Raising your rate is hard. So start at a fair price, I would say. Start a little maybe above what you think you're going to charge, but definitely check out the market. And when I looked around and started doing, and I still do every once in a while, start doing a little research nationwide, looking online at what other people charge that sort of do this line of work. And I find that some people were charging they'll have a flat fee or a basic fee that's low, but then they start doing add-ons for a title slide costs this and an extra slide costs this, and each caption costs this and this and this. And I started looking at this thinking it's going to take me longer to calculate the bill than it will to make the slideshow. I can't do that. So I just decided for me, I was going to have a flat rate. And it would be per photo. So right now, what I charge is $4 a photo with a 100 photo minimum. So to make a slideshow will cost $400 for 100 photos. If someone brings me only 100 photos, so it's $400, that's a pretty good return on my time. It takes me a couple of hours probably to make 2 hours start to finish to make a 100 photo slideshow, including the packaging. Because I've been doing it a while, I'm pretty fast at it. It probably takes you longer when you're first starting out. But I just decided for me, I just wanted all-in pricing, so it's simple for clients to understand, simple for me to bill. Someone calls me and says, how much is it going to cost? I can tell them. And that's what I decided to do. Now I charge for extra DVD. I charge extra if someone's getting extra copies of a DVD. or, and I also charge extra for extra photos. So if someone's getting 200 photos, it's going to be $800, Well, if my math's correct there. That's why I use a calculator. But anyway, I would just say the main thing is to make sure that that you price your services fairly, because I will say the hardest thing for me to do every once in a while, I don't raise my prices often, but when I do, it's always tricky, because people will be like, well, wait, Susie hired you last year. She said it was $3 a photo, and that's always a tricky conversation to have. For me, it is, because like I said, most of my business is referrals and repeat business, so it's hard for me. That's why you see the bullet point here, belonging to an organization like APPO helps. It does. It helps. When you're in an in an industry that is not, doctors, lawyers, even personal trainers. There's other people you can compare yourself to. There's other people that charge the same amount. So it's easy to justify your rate, but it's kind of hard when you're in a new industry to justify your rate, I think. Cathi, do you agree with that?
Yes, I think that's been one of the biggest things that we've hopefully helped people do, is find is to increase the value of what it is that you do, right? The recognition that it's taken you. I always try to help people see when they wonder how much they charge. If you were a bookkeeper and you've been doing that for 10 years, or a nurse, you would expect to get paid, based on your experience as well. And so if this is something that you've devoted your time and energy to learning how to do, and not everybody is willing to do that. Of course, anybody could probably, if they put their mind to it, figure some of this stuff out, but they don't want to put their mind to it. So they're paying you your value should be in relation to that. And then I believe that it's priceless. Like, nobody ever would look at me at the end of when I hand them a finished product with their photos and say, oh, shoot, I can't believe I invested all that money in doing that. I mean, it's the most priceless thing that of all the things you're going to invest your money in. I always feel like it is the one thing that matters the most.
Absolutely.
More than you get your nails done, or going out to a really nice dinner, or, buying the latest shoes.
It's the best gift they ever gave, without question. I hear that all the time. Yeah, it is priceless. So. And it's an
endless gift that keeps giving back. I mean, I forgot I had done that video slide with music for my dad. I think it was his 75th birthday, and he died this year, and he's almost 85. And we hadn't looked at that in probably 4 or 5 years, and I played that throughout the funeral, and it was so wonderful. I'm so glad that I had that with the music and the pictures of him, and I remembered the joy he felt in me creating that for him, and things like that. So it's also a timeless gift that you get to keep seeing it and reusing it in terms of understanding your value. The purpose of us telling you this is that these are things that you can tell your clients as well, why there's a huge value in what it is that you're creating for them.
That said, look, this last bullet point here, packaging and polished finished product are key. If you're going to charge a professional fee, you need to make sure that you are delivering a polished professional product. And so we're going to, in a bit here, you'll see a slide that with a lovely DVD case. You need to deliver a polished professional product, and we'll show you that in a bit. Just need to make sure that you actually are, you're not just giving them like a white disc with like some, like handwritten, like, happy birthday DVD on it or something. It has to, you have to make sure that you've dotted your I's and crossed your T's, that the audio is balanced, that that it's just a seamless, beautiful, polished, professional presentation. And luckily, with the ProShow software, especially with ProShow Producer, you have the tools to deliver that kind of product, and the resources are out there to get the training as well. With with all the tutorials, with the ProShow blog, I think even if you're starting from zero, if you devote some time and energy into watching the tutorials that are out there, there's a book, Secrets of the ProShow Experts. If you get a little time and effort, you can be up and running in no time and look like a true professional. You don't need to go to film school to do this, but you have to invest a little bit of time and effort, and just really put some. And most importantly, I think you have to put some love into these shows. I think that's what really shows in the stuff that I do is really caring about it. I think that shows through at the end of the day. That's my pitch.
Okay, so let's see. So here's your delivery and packaging you were mentioning that you wanted to show. Yeah, that looks beautiful. I mean, that's a beautiful package.
Sorry, Cathi. So this template actually is something that was on the ProShow blog. It was what's the date here? I think it was in December. Oh shoot, I wrote it down. It was in December.
Yeah, December. Is this yours right here, December?
It wasn't mine. That was actually put out by the ProShow blog. They put that out in December. So you can actually download that template from the ProShow blog, and drop in your photo. And there's another one that was more for families as well. So this is just an idea that they put out there. Now you can design your own packaging as well, but the point is this: just make sure that you do deliver like lovely professional packaging. If you're going to do a DVD case, just make sure that it looks nice and it's, you know, I think that's beautiful. I love the way that one looks. So.
And you know, I like here too. You mentioned this packaging. That I didn't realize you were doing the photo books with your. With discs included or your photo book, you know, kind of adding that as an add-on. I think one of the things that I've learned is, and we've helped people throughout the association too, how do you deliver and package how do you price yourself, how do you deliver a great customer service and things, is that concept of packaging is really effective. People don't like feeling like they're being nickel and dimed by like an hourly fee, like how many hours do I have on the clock and different things like that. So if you, by kind of knowing like Jenny's got that idea of 100 photos, you know, how much it is per photo, though that kind of knowing that, and it takes a while. You're not going to know all this right off the bat. I used to like, for instance, how do you charge for a photo book? I remember I timed myself making digital photo books online using my own software where I was creating the kind of designing the books myself, and I eventually realized it took me, I could do 4 pages an hour. I mean, and knowing that sometimes I would create a page much faster, other times it would take me longer. And so then I could say, well, a 26-page book or a 30-page book is going to cost X amount. And so I didn't say to the client, I knew what my hourly fee should be, what I wanted to be charging, what was competitive in my area of the country where I lived, based on what other service providers charge hourly, and then I was able to make my pricing accordingly. So I think that's, and then build in for your packaging, you know, that nice packaging, right? You want to make sure that you, like Jenny, that's reflected in your pricing that you're going to give a package. You're not charging them extra for the packaging.
No, everything for me, everything is included except for extra DVD copies. Like for me, and unlimited revisions. Although, you know, I think I've been doing this long enough that we try and usually just do one draft and then, you know. But if there's ever an error or something, I redo it, of course. But that doesn't happen too often. But yeah, for me, everything is included. They can have as many title slides or whatever they want, as many music changes. I'm not nickel and diming people for like little things. The only increase in cost is increasing number of photos. But I have had people make shows, believe it or not, with up to 500 photos. So that was a big
because they insist, right? They can't bring themselves to
no, they couldn't.
Cull down,
it was
right?
Crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, this is going to be expensive. They said they didn't care. I'm like, it's also going to be long. They said they didn't care. I said, all right, well, you know, it's your budget. So anyway.
Yeah, and I think that's important too to help clients understand. When you're working with clients, it's really important you can give them direction, but eventually if they have their own direction they want to go in, then I always find, especially when you're dealing with photos or anything to do with their stories, memories, memorabilia, and things like that, it's okay to let them have that kind of a say because it is so personal, you know, and they may not mind watching 30 minutes of
right.
I have I know some people that for graduation, my son actually did some shows for them, and she insisted on it was like 20 minutes. I mean, the people at the party were like, you know, their eyes were glazing over and they were done, but that mom, she could watch that slideshow over and over and over again because it was just her daughter, you know.
I want to tell you, I've had that exact conversation. I was doing something for a wedding rehearsal, and it was a huge wedding rehearsal. There were probably 300 people at the wedding rehearsal, and the person throwing it wanted this, you know, for a wedding rehearsal montage. They wanted, believe it or not, this wedding rehearsal montage slideshow was 45 minutes long. I'm not kidding. 45 minutes. I tried everything in my power, 1,000 different ways. I urged them to cut it down. It was in my best, you know, I was making a lot more money. It was in my financial interest to have the show be longer, but I was trying to have them cut it down. They did not. They would not. I said, okay. I said, do me a favor, at least when you get up to announce the show, you know, tell everyone how long it is. Encourage them to take, you know, to get up if they need a break. You know, so I think that's the key. It's a long show. At least tell your audience that they're allowed to take bathroom breaks.
So let's now let's talk a little bit quickly about photo decks and their pro show.
Yeah.
You know, how easy it makes it, and you can certainly talk about their built-in wizards and their effects packs and things like that. So
yeah, well, it's hard. Yeah, I have to say it's kind of hard for me to believe I've only been using ProShow for a couple of years because since I started, I haven't looked back, and I want to say that I'm 100% ProShow. And I just love it. I love, especially love, using the wizard has really helped me speed up my workflow. As new effects packs come out, I sort of tweak some of the wizards that I've created a few over time using, that I like, using some of my favorite effects so that I can really speed up my slideshow creation for stuff that I'm doing over and over again. I love all the effects. And I think it really, there's just so many of them. It's sort of a blessing and a curse because sometimes I get bogged down trying to, choose. Sometimes I get a little, I go hunting for something new and different. And, there's just so many to pick from. But I will say that's one word of caution. Just because there are 3,000 effects, if you buy all of them, just because you have them doesn't mean you need to throw them all into every show you make. Another great tip that ProShow has that allows from a professional standpoint is the ability to watermark your shows. This is a great thing if you're when you're sending out a sample show to a client. If if it's a concern of yours, maybe you haven't gotten paid in full yet, and you want to make sure that the sample you're sending out doesn't disappear and then you don't get full payment, you can watermark it. So overall, I would say if you're looking at starting a business, for me, ProShow Producer was really the only way to go in terms of just because I had been used to having full control using the editing software I had used previously to make make slideshows. I was used to really fine tuning every effect. So for me, ProShow Producer was really the logical choice. One of the biggest things that I alluded to earlier that I think someone just new to starting a business needs to sign up for right away would be the ProShow blog, because it's a great source of new information. It's updated a couple times a week, and I feel like I know a lot of stuff. I'm learning new stuff every week. It's really great. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. New tips, new techniques.
One thing about ProShow too is, well, as a member of APPO, you get a discount on ProShow, which is built in. They're a company that we negotiated with as well, and it's amazing though. I have to say though, because I'm not, I'm here as to talk about the association and work with Jenny and things, but we poll our members all the time. I mean, we have what we call a private Facebook group where our members ask each other for advice, and so a lot of people, if they're not even starting out thinking they're going to offer slideshow, somebody's going to always ask them eventually, and they always put out there like, what's the software program? I mean, it's unbelievable. ProShow, without question, is the #1 recommended program, and none of these folks have any kind of vested, I mean, they're doing it as a true endorsement. It's not because there's any kind of payback from Photodex or anything for them to recommend ProShow, right? It's amazing, right? And you didn't know about ProShow until you joined APPO, right? Is that where you discovered them? Through us, was it, or no? Did you?
It was from Molly Wasserman. Yeah, she showed me something she had been using, that vintage style pack for her parents' 50th anniversary. I said, oh my God, because I had done something similar in Final Cut. It had taken me about 6 months of custom animation. It was crazy. And she's like, I did that in about 2.5 minutes on ProShow. I'm like, oh, okay. I think I need to look into this ProShow thing and buy a PC. So that's how that happened. So the rest is history.
The rest is history. Well, we really want to thank you for those of you listening, and because there's no date on this, so because you've made it to the end here and you've listened, we hope you've learned quite a bit. We would love to welcome you to the association, and so we're going to offer you a 25% discount on our membership. It's normally $295 a year, and there's a lot of benefits to membership that we're not going to really touch on here. You've heard a lot of what Jenny's talked about, but besides the community and but we also do a tremendous amount of training ourselves and getting people up and running in their businesses and things. So if you use the coupon code ProShow25, it'll take that $25 off, and there won't be an expiration date on that. We also have an annual conference, our third conference ever. Our first was in Chicago. Last year was Dallas. This year in 2015 is going to be in Orlando, Florida. And you can save $100 on registration as well by using the coupon code ProShow100. So you'll save $100 in registration. It's an amazing conference. We really hope that you can make it. There's not a lot of time between now when we're doing this and then. So if you're listening to this after this date, we also will. Our date for 2016 is March 3rd through the 6th, and it's at the Wyndham Anaheim in California. And we offer lots of workshop breakout sessions there that you can take. I mean, Jenny's done a class on how to make doing video slideshows for profits. We have everything from how to do remote digital photo organizing to how to brand your business, marketing techniques and things. A lot of amazing speakers, professional photographers, and we also have a business expo. So Pro Show is there, promoting their products and things, and lots of photo book companies, and so it's a great opportunity to kind of see what's happening out there. You're welcome to come to the conference whether you're a member of the association or not, though. So it's you don't have to be a member. There's no difference in price. We'd love to have you either way. So that's our thank you for listening to us. And so, Jenny, anything more you want to add before we kind of close today?
No, I'm just thanks for listening, and encourage everyone, if you had specific questions on how to make slideshows, again, had those webinars last summer, which might go into a little more detail. So encourage you to listen to those. And thanks. And thanks, Cathi.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Thank you so much, Photodex, for inviting us. And Pro Show, we're really thrilled that you gave us this opportunity. So thanks, everybody, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.